Welcome to Hameen Loyal. This is Eric Grissom.
And I'm Dan Johnson. Eric and I will be rewatching the iconic Twin Peaks from the pilot through the return and everything in between.
If this is your first time watching, or if you're a longtime fan, you can watch along with us as we dive deep into the strange and wonderful world of Twin Peaks.
We live inside a dream.
Today on Meanwhile, we are doing Lonely Souls. This is episode 14, Dan. This is the 7th episode of season 2. It's a big one. It's a special, important episode. The end of the Who Killed Laura Palmer mystery. Well, not the end of the story, but the end of the mystery has arrived. And it's bittersweet, right? Because it's one of the best episodes, and it also means certain characters are on their way out.
Yeah, very much so. This was a big one. A lot is happening in this episode with the main storylines. We got a whole bunch of other threads that are going here, but there's the build up for this episode. Before we get into it scene by scene, it just feels like the entire episode is just ratcheting up, and the tension just keeps building. And the conclusion of this episode is great. I'm super excited to talk about this one.
It's a visceral experience, this episode. It is. You feel it in all parts of your body. This is written by Mark Frost, directed by David Lynch. First time editor, only episode she's going to edit. Mary Sweeney. David Lynch and Mary Sweeney will get married years later. For a year. She had been working with him in some capacity going all the way back to Blue Velvet. David Lynch has been married 4 times, so she was one of those wives, but I believe it was only a year somewhere around the time of Inland Empire. She edits Fire Walk with Me. She does an episode of On the Air, Hotel Room, Lost Highway, Straight Stories. She's sort of the driving force of Straight Stories, so she writes that with John Roach, which is like an old friend of hers, and they produce it, and she's the reason, really, that David Lynch has brought the project. It's fantastic, wonderful, beautiful movie that I would recommend to anyone who likes David Lynch. You always hear about David Lynch being these strange, dreamlike. This is a straight movie. It is a beautiful movie about human dignity and just kindness and the power of people. It's better than the way I'm describing it. I love that movie. And she also directs a movie called Baraboo, but I've not seen that, so I can't talk about it. But anyway, she's editing it. It came out on November 10th, 1990.
But when Laura's killer was revealed on Saturday night, Twin Peaks couldn't muster enough ratings to win its own time slot, leaving more questions to be answered.
However, it's up against Wise Guy on CBS.
The new Wise Guy premieres Saturday, November 10th.
Back to back. I think that's just the TV show, right? Wise Guy was like, The Mob was in, Carol and Company, and American Dreams. And for the first time in so long, the back half of this episode comes in first place. So it takes second place. Carol and Company beats it, but sorry, American Dreams, you're going to give us what we want at the very end. So a lot of people in America watch the insanity that is the end of Lonely Souls. It's even now in 2025 to think of this scene or that scene on television.
I wish that we had numbers. I want to see, was it consistent throughout? I don't know. I'm just imagining people coming to the second half of it on it. They watched Carol and Company, and they said, what else is on? And they just flipped over. It's like...
Totally makes sense, though. If you think about it, it completely makes sense, right? Because Twin Peaks is a national phenomenon.
Yes.
Who Killed Laura Palmer? The audience falls off. ABC is heavily promoting, find out who killed Laura Palmer.
One of these people murdered Laura Palmer. It was a mystery that captured the imagination of the whole country. Tonight, the killer will finally be revealed. Really.
I am just so happy.
Twin Peaks next.
Is that so? They're saying that. That's why I want to know.
Yes.
So they're saying this is the episode
Yes.
you're going to find out.
Tune in on Saturday. You're going to find out. So people are like, they're going to tell you at the end. So they switch over just to see, like, oh, I'll figure out who it is, and then they're hit with whatever.
I don't care enough to watch the entire show. I just want to know the answer. I'm not going to read the entire book. I'm not going to read the entire book. I'm just going to flip to the end and call it good enough. That's crazy.
Americans aren't the best. I
don't know what you're talking about.
Generally speaking, taste level sometimes is a little bit lacking.
Okay, maybe.
Before we jump into it, because I can't wait to talk about it, this is one of my favorite episodes of Twin Peaks.
I would
Top
imagine.
3. Easy, and it's tough with season 2, which is because the last episode of season 2 is so intense, but I may actually put this at my top. For a guy who hates lists, here I am ranking things.
I was gonna say, everybody stay tuned to the end.
That's my inner contradiction. I hate lists. Why do we have to make lists? I like this one more than this.
Top 5 reasons I hate lists. Number 1.
Well, you know what? I do like lists. I like lists in the moment. Right? So my favorite David Lynch films, they change, they move. It depends on, I like that. Right? Because it's like a moment in time. But I want to talk about The Hidden. Do you know the movie The Hidden? Kyle McLaughlin movie.
I don't know the movie The Hidden.
I had seen it years ago. It's a good movie. I always liked the movie The Hidden. It's from 1987. And so I threw it on the other day, and I was like, I'm going to watch The Hidden again. And it's awesome because, all right, I'll tell you what The Hidden's about. Okay. So it's Kyle McLaughlin. He plays an FBI agent from the Northwest. He's working a murder case with a local cop as they track down an evil entity that inhabits the body of its host. Oh, and Chris Mulkey's in it.
Please stop.
Why 3 law-abiding citizens all of a sudden go crazy and start killing people?
We talking spacemen here?
Something gets in his way, he kills us. Finds a body, gets inside, uses it to move around.
Yes, it's awesome. It's a science fiction alien pod people type, but it's so great to see him because this is 1987, so he's even younger playing an FBI agent than he is in the pilot.
I'm looking right now at the trailer for it, and he looks 5 to 10 years younger than he is 3 years later when he makes Twin Peaks. But yeah, okay.
I enjoy the movie. I would recommend it. It's a fun watch. It is. I don't remember who directs it.
It's Jack Shoulder, written by Jim Koof.
Yep.
Starring Kyle McLaughlin, Michael Nouri, and Claudia Christian.
Put your Jack on my shoulder. It's The Hidden. All right, now let's get into the business. Let's get right into the Lonely Souls.
Let's dive in.
Listen to the sounds.
The thing that kills me is that the murder of Laura Palmer was never supposed to be solved.
Tell me yes or no. Did Laura's father kill Laura? Because that's my theory.
Ray, it's you. It was always you.
And why would you kill this little goose? It's unreal.
Yeah.
It's a huge sadness.
At the sheriff's station, the boys prep for a round of speed dating at the Great Northern. Hawk is off to serve a warrant for Harold's apartment, and Gordon reminds us that the pages found near the bloody towel were from a diary.
I love the visual of this scene. What is it? 4 of them? 5 of them?
Yeah, it's all of them, right? It's got Gordon, you've got the Mike, the one-armed man, Andy's there, Truman's coming in, Cooper's there, they're all drinking coffee, Hawk's there drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, all the boys.
Mike is there. The fact that Mike is there, it's not Mr. Gerard, it's Mike is there with them. For some reason, it just makes me like, I don't know. It's like a werewolf among them. I know he's not like it's just like a strange thing. They're just all sitting there drinking coffee. The tableau of them just standing across the front of the reception area is great. As Gordon Cole's off to do... I said Gordon Cole is off to go into his next case. And he clinks coffee cups with Coop on the way out.
He's going to Oregon. Yep.
Says goodbye to everyone as he goes. It's just like, yeah, I got to get out of here because I got a whole major episode to direct, guys. So I really can't be in it right now. But it's great. I just like I just did. I love the moments of Cooper when he starts to say something. He takes a step back and shouts. I think that gag will never get old for me. I just love that. But I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say other than just all of them standing there so somber as Gordon's going to leave is... I don't know, but it's kind of portending for the rest of the episode. But it feels like it's hinting at something. I'm just not perceptive enough to know what it is.
I love this scene because it's like a mix of it's just one of the... I find it this whole scene very funny. Because Mike, as you're saying, is fully Mike. And he is just repeating the riddle about, the Great Northern.
Everything's set. They're waiting for us at the Great Northern.
A large house made of wood, surrounded by trees. The house is filled with many rooms, each alike, but occupied by different souls, night after night.
Guests will be in the lobby.
And they're just going about their business, and it reminds me of like E.T. Like in E.T., he's this mystery, wonderful creature. And then he's with you for a while, and then you're going trick-or-treating with him, and it's funny. Like it's the way that he sort of just keeps repeating, and then they're going back and forth it's a great little comedy moment for me.
I know. I think that you're putting your finger on it because it comes up later. This is the comedy version of what I was thinking about later. It's this extraordinary thing, this supernatural being that's inhabiting Mike, if we believe what he's saying, in the most mundane sort of setting. They're just a bunch of guys sitting around drinking coffee. And later, it's this horror in the most mundane of settings of this living room that we spent so much time in. I think maybe that's what I'm feeling about this, is just that juxtaposition.
Maybe. But it does it in a way that doesn't undercut Mike either.
No.
There's also a very funny joke, for me, and maybe it's not funny to some people, but Gordon, on his way out, like he's saying goodbye to everyone, and he says goodbye to Cooper, and he goes to shake Mike's hand, but Mike can't shake his hand because he's got a cup of coffee and one arm. So then he just does the nod, and they both nod, and Gordon sort of does this bow, and he goes, watch out for Mike, which I found to be very funny. The whole thing is cool and cute. All right, so we're going to go over to the Great Northern now. We saw what they were prepping for. Guests are paraded before the one-armed man, but Ben Horn lights his fire.
Yeah, this scene is so chaotic. Intentionally so, I think, but in the way that it's shot, feels kind of frenetic.
Because there's bouncing balls constantly.
Well, that's the part that just feels just like, okay, David Lynch is obviously in the house directing this, because there's just Navy sailors all over the place.
Yeah, some kind of Navy convention is happening.
Bouncing rubber balls. But it's not just one person idly just bouncing a ball against the wall. It's a whole bunch of people bouncing rubber balls. But just the cacophony of footfalls everywhere, confused people talking. Mike almost like growling at people as that's not him, not it, as they're trying to find the person, the owl, the person that's being inhabited by Bob. And then he collapses at the end when Ben comes in. This whole thing of really the first half of this, maybe first 2/3 of this episode, just going all in, chips all in on old Ben Horn.
One note I want to mention too with Gordon Cole. So Gordon Cole leaves, as you said, he's got an episode to direct. But unfortunately, we are not going to see Gordon Cole, David Lynch, again till all the way in the future with Wings of Love, until On the Wings of Love, which is going to start our third part. So we're going to do a whole midsection without David Lynch. But yes, this scene, it reminds me of The Shining. with the sound that's going off with the balls, it's just like ba-bump, 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 and he's going, no, 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 and all the people, and there's all this chaos, and then it's cutting back and forth with Ben, and you just hear Ben's, like, the quiet of his shoes.
Bro.
As he's like coming up and it's cutting back to the chaos and it's cutting back to Ben. And I love how that feels. And it just reminds me of little Danny Torrance driving his big wheel around when it hits the rug. And the way that he does like that pullback as the, once Ben arrives and Mike goes crazy, or what you think Mike's going crazy because Ben arrives.
Yeah.
Just that, the receding camera with all the people passing, and you're just like, this thing happens, and then you're pulled through the crowd away from this is just so effective.
Yeah, yeah. I have a question that I don't know is for the podcast or not, or how to ask it. Because it's not a spoiler, because we're going to get to it at the end anyway.
You can spoil who killed Laura Palmer.
But why does Mike fall over?
Yeah, that's a good question. You could make an argument. It is because is Leland there and we don't see him? Like, is Leland on here? Is Mike reacting because Ben had just been with Leland? There's no answer. I don't have an answer. So I have to pretend maybe off screen or off screen, we just don't see him because there's so much chaos. Because where else would he be? He's probably at work. He's probably somewhere in the, we don't know. We don't know, like, why.
What it makes me feel like, and it's fine, we don't need to know. This is one of the things we started this whole show with. One of the points that you made is, just letting it be what it is and not necessarily needing to answer all the things, and that's fine. But it does feel a little bit to me like cheating with a misdirect. Not that the show is set up to say, like, if you pay attention, you'll be able to pick up on every clue and you'll be able to solve the whole thing, because it's not that kind of show.
No, but if you do pay attention, you can solve it, as I have a big list coming.
It's more, speaking of lists, but it's because I feel like the show is more tone, intuition, and other things than the literal, like, connect the dots. That's part of it. That's not the main thing to me. But it does feel a little bit like cheating to me in the way that, some mystery writers, would misdirect and just you don't have all the clues. You couldn't possibly answer who the killer was. That's the only quibble I have. I would have loved to have just had something else in the episode that would have made that make more sense, as opposed to it being a very obvious misdirect.
Yeah,
as we find
I don't have an answer to that. It's possible there is an answer to that somebody was like, oh, dummy, that's because this, and this.
Sure.
I've looked in the background because I had those same thoughts that you did. Like,
of course,
can you see Leland in the background? I was looking for white hair. There is a guy with white hair that walks by when they're pulling back. It's not Leland. But so I've looked. I haven't seen anything, and I don't know, other than maybe he was just with Leland. Is there something about Ben in general? I don't know. I'm pretending that Leland is there and we don't see him because he's somewhere else in the room.
Totally fine. Yeah. I was going to say, but what about, it doesn't matter because we don't have an answer. So let's go ahead and move on.
No. Yeah. Not that I know of. And if you know, listening, certainly let us know.
Let us know.
All right. So Harold Smith's apartment is trashed and his fate is revealed. Poor tragic Harold.
We hardly knew ye, Harold. This is, it was, for someone who's seen the show before, this was quite a shock to me that he died.
Oh, really? You don't remember that either? Okay, that's...
For just pretend I don't know. I've never seen the show before because it's functionally the same thing. But no, to see the state from where we last left him, and he was absolutely out of sorts and panicked and the scream of rage in his hothouse. And now to see the state of everything, that corruption really took hold quickly. It destroyed everything. We've got ripped up shreds of all the diaries, of all the stories that have been told all over the place. The orchids and everything are broken all apart, and we see just the torso and legs hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, he's just
of the high
hanging
house.
there. His house is
It's
soiled,
really
literally.
Yeah.
It's a very sad scene.
Yeah.
Just some behind the scenes stuff, as I'm wont to do. Lenny Von Dolen had an idea the night before they were shooting. He had talked about this in the 2012 UK Twin Peaks Festival, but I've heard him say this story before in a number of interviews. So the night before they were shooting, he had an idea. It was like, it would be great if I killed myself with carbon monoxide. Like you'd hear like the burners on, and then you'd see all the dead plants, and then you'd see a slumped over Harold. Like these things were so precious to him, and he killed himself. And he new to the show, calls David Lynch, and he's like pitching him this idea. And
David left a message saying, Lenny, never come up with a great idea the night before a shoot. We built the rafter, we gotta, and you're
Well, I'm glad that he was receptive to it and thought it was a great idea, but that's really too bad. I mean, I like this, though. I thought it was effective.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I wouldn't want it to, nothing against his idea.
No, not at all.
The way it's composed, seeing it through, again, the man behind the glass. That's how we've always known Harold, as the guy inside, looking out, and here we are outside looking in. I thought it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Not that I'm into like hanging dudes, but as far as the images, you can't top that. It's really a beautiful thing. All right, so it's morning at the Palmer home, and Maddie tells her aunt and uncle of her plans to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it seems funny. Like it almost seems like Leland and Sarah are surprised that Maddie's ready to go, but she's been there for like 3 years by now.
Well, yeah, it's about 2 weeks, I think we said.
Really long time.
No, less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, right?
I was gonna say about a week and a half, somewhere around there. Week and a half, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I do this every thing. It's like she arrived on a Monday. I could tell you that because that was the funeral. So you do the math.
Assuming all of it is correct, but that's fine. It felt, you see Sarah is much more reluctant to say goodbye to Maddie.
Yeah.
I think she was really, that was the psychic healing balm for Sarah's anguish. Leland seems a little bit more understanding. Maybe he's just a little, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so it's been such a long time. It just seemed to be that Sarah wasn't ready, but it was a very nice scene, the three of them. But not a whole lot else going on there.
I love this scene. I got a lot to talk, well, not a lot to talk about, but this scene starts on a painting. And the painting is where she dies. Written on the bottom of the painting is Missoula, Montana.
Get the hell out of here.
So when he kills her by slamming her head into the painting at the end of this episode, it is in a way a joke. Leland says you're going back to Missoula, Montana, and he kills her in the painting of Missoula, Montana. So that's how it starts. There's so many things with Maddie.
I just got to say, I'm so glad. I would never want to do a podcast like this with anyone but you. That is fantastic. All right, sorry.
All right, so then you see like the pictures of young Cheryl and young Cheryl Lee in real life, which I just think is a nice touch. The song playing is It's a Wonderful World. What an ironic song. In general, I love the character of Maddie. Cheryl Lee does such a great job with everything that she's in, so I'm sad to see her go.
Yeah.
You learn like she's got a job, an apartment. Like in the diary, she's about 4 years older, so she's got this whole other thing going on. But when she talks to Sarah, she says,
"Of course, I'll come galloping back often."
I'll come galloping back, which is like we see a horse at the end,
horse later,
right before that she's going to die. And also David Lynch is born in Missoula, Montana. So all the stuff about Missoula, Montana is sort of a link to him. But that's all. The painting thing is wonderful.
I didn't know there was so much more in this episode. In that one little scene, because there's not a whole lot of like content to the scene on like at the but that's great.
But it's a very powerful room, going back to coma and now this, and then at the end of this. All right, so the police arrive at Harold's home and investigate his suicide. Hawk discovers what's left of Laura's diary.
Yeah, I mean, with all the diaries that presumably is what's all ripped up all over the place there. Books and other things, but like the stories they was collecting. With all those so destroyed, it does seem strange to me that the one thing that he left mostly intact was Laura's diary, the thing that he was entrusted to protect.
Well, it's pretty ripped up because when you see Cooper reassembling it, he's got it all over the...
There's just a few pages, and presumably it's the same, length as the diary that was published and we read.
Yep.
Then it was maybe, it didn't look to me on the table that was spread out that many pages that were ripped out. Again, we get the I'm a lonely soul in French.
Yeah,
again.
tying back to the young boy.
Little snapping boy.
Little Tremont. Pierre Tremont
Yeah.
is his proper name, I believe.
Yes.
I know that. Right. Why am I saying I believe it?
No, you can believe it. It can also be true.
Dude, if you
can believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. That's all. Yeah, tell me the 20 things in this scene that I didn't see.
I don't have that many things. I'm going to try not to gush. I could gush over every scene. The flash bulbs, which is something we saw previously with Lynch. I love the use of the flash bulbs, the old-timey like police photos. And when Hawk is crouching and you just see him in the flash in those moments, and the way that camera pushes in on Cooper with the note when it just comes in and he's got it and he says the thing, it's like these are just like these brief moments in time, and it goes from like a video show or a film or whatever to like photographs or paintings of this scene. And I love that. I love just taking these moments and going, there's your photo, and it just, ugh, God, I'll take it right in my veins. At the Johnson home, Shelley and Bobby struggle to make ends meet, and Leo needs a new pair of shoes. Or an old pair of shoes.
No, it's definitely new shoes. Just the image of Leo dribbling down his chin over and over again. Every time spit, new shoes. It's such a great inversion of this character.
Yeah.
From this menacing nightmare of a man to someone who's in a vegetative state and drooling with this baby doll voice saying new shoes over and over again. It's crazy. This is a scene where I really remember that Bobby and Shelley are basically high school kids. Mm-hmm. They have these plans, nothing's going right, and now they're at each other bickering. I am helping Shelley. No, you're not, Bobby. You screwed everything up. You have no way out of it. There's nothing that Shelley can do, and she's got to live on basically pocket change every month because of this decision with her abusive husband.
Yeah, $42.
Staring at it. $42. Just, it absolutely is nuts. And the two of them just acting like teenagers is very clear here. Where in so much else of the story, they just feel much more mature in certain ways than we actually see them under stress here. But I think the best moment in the scene is Bobby and Shelley's reaction to Leo's like howl that he has,
like screaming,
really screaming, and just the two of them freaking out is just gold. I love that moment. But yeah, tell me what you thought.
It's just Bobby dismissing that as a burp at first before he finally unloads again with the new shoes. I love this. It's like $42. They're doing they're doing the finances. So it's a scene where they're doing the finances. The $40 trying to make ends meet. That one I can relate to. But Bobby is such a jerk. Like he's just not, like you said it, but he's not there for her. He's abandoning her. And she's like, I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about me and this monster that you stuck me with. He did all this. This is all his doing. And I love like how the funny gag, Mark Frost is such a great writer, that he's like, I'm going to be late for economics. Because of course he has to go to economics while they're fighting over money in this scene, which is fantastic. And the idea of Leo, like you had said, to take this horrible, menacing force and reduce him to this vegetative state where he's drooling, but he still manages to be scary because we've been hinted at his looking at Shelley or his eyes opening when he was first on that gurney with Doc Hayward and Shelley. So there's always the element of this guy is still dangerous. So despite all of the wheelchair and those types of things, you're still afraid of him, and it has a mystery sense to it. It's not just weird or funny; it's mysterious.
The reason why he's howling because he reacts. He is there. He is
Yes,
paying attention.
yeah.
He just can't come out of his body. He's hearing that because Bobby's like, I know Leo. He's got this money.
Yeah.
It's hidden somewhere. It's somewhere around here. And that's when Leo's like, crap. I gotta, like, don't you dare. This howl. So, like, he is totally there. We know that he's there, as much as Bobby may want to, like, try to calm Shelley down, or more likely just try to ignore it.
And I wonder too, like, is it that he's howling mad because he doesn't want them to find this? Or does he know Ben had Hank shoot him and he wants to fuck Ben over? So he's actually trying to get Bobby to know about the shoes. Because what's in the shoes? The tape that implicates Ben in the fire. So he's like, even though Bobby's literally having sex, we know Leo likes that kind of thing.
This is true, yeah.
From the diary and from his Flesh World ad, he's not beyond group activities. So
no, that's so true. I do wonder.
That's more a joke. But my real point is that he wants to. Yeah.
No. Dude. You're the first part is 100% true. But I think you're joking or not. I think you're actually right. I do wonder though, because from the book, from Laura's diary, he and Bobby and Laura. I mean, it seems like there's been a bunch of stuff. I would guess though that Leo would not be the one who wanted to be cuckolded and watch. He would rather be on the other end. But that's who knows. I mean, maybe he likes all of it.
But you're the one that found the full Flesh World ad, right? And it was by Curious Men, right? That he wanted, or like he wanted couples.
Yes.
Where the guy was something, I don't remember.
It was bi as well.
Okay,
yeah,
it was bi. Okay. So,
yes.
I mean,
so yeah, exactly.
Who knows? But yeah, the
maybe.
cuckolding thing, I think you're right that he would want to be probably.
Or maybe because he's in power, otherwise he wants to. Psychology, man, is great. Anyway.
But the thing that I want to really highlight is like where some of the stuff in Twin Peaks gets weird, because this is weird, right? I mean, but there's a mystery sense to it. There's a danger sense to it. You're like interested to find out. It's not just jokes about Leo, although they're peppered in there. It's also like has a menacing undercurrent, which I love. All right. So meanwhile, Audrey is going to confront her father about One-Eye Jacks and his relationship with Laura.
Just laying it out there for Ben. Like, yeah, I know all these things. When she says, do you remember Prudence in the little white mask? Like, I feel like at that moment, like he finally felt something he couldn't hide.
Yeah.
He couldn't be like that, whatever, just whatever. Put a mask on or not confront it. But in that moment, I think he really contemplated what was going to happen if he hadn't gotten interrupted by his brother. So that was just incredibly painful to watch. Do you think is it really possible that Battis sent Laura to Jax without Ben knowing? Because it seems like Battis is not the kind of guy who would just freelance like that, or just, unless Laura kind of got him to do it, which I could definitely see her manipulating her way into it, but it doesn't strike me that Battis would do anything without running it by Ben first.
That's a good point. Like, we've seen how Battis acts. He is a weak-willed sort of person.
Yeah.
Like, what benefit? Unless it's a. Well, we saw Battis put his daughter in there without okaying it. So certainly Laura could have manipulated him in the same way that Audrey did. So yeah, maybe he's being honest.
That's very fair. Maybe he's being, yeah. And just the way that Audrey presses him about sleeping with Laura, the way he goes quiet and doesn't say anything is enough of a confirmation, but she is insistent that he actually verbalizes it, that he actually says out loud, yes, that he did. Just to take away any sort of doubt. And it just feels like that must be like, I don't know, a knife in the heart, or just like pulling it out or something. Just like, okay, I finally know for sure this is what happened. Was crazy. And just lastly, the way that Ben looks at Laura's photo and strokes it and says, I loved her, when Audrey's right there, and we know from the history of between Audrey and Laura and Ben, and how she was so jealous of the attention that Ben would give Laura. And in this moment of all moments, to like have that reinforced in a very visible, demonstrative way. This is such a crazy scene for Audrey. And she's also, just coming off of getting hooked on heroin. So she's coming. She got she's not in a good state. And we clearly see that later as well. But anyway, this is quite the scene for Audrey to get through.
It's quite the scene, too, because he literally has a photo of Laura on his desk. Not the photo in his other office that's Audrey and Laura that we saw in the office with the big fish. It's just Laura. So now, did he ask Leland, like, for copies? Like, because that's like a photo that the family would have. Like, and then he's framing it or whatever. It's fine. From the one-armed man, that incident happening, clearly you see Ben coming, so you're looking at it. And then this scene, when she asks, did you kill her? He does not say no. He says, I loved her. So, like, they are shining such a bright spotlight on Ben. When I watched it the first time, I thought it was Ben. I thought I was a genius. It's obviously so obvious to probably everybody watching it. So as these episodes go and you're like, it's all coming right. I finally got something right. But it is very much, you are being driven down this one road. All signs are pointing to Ben, which makes the reveal even more effective, which I love.
Absolutely.
The only other thing that I had on here is nothing. I just said that he owned One-Eyed Jacks for 5 years. That's not really that important.
Wait, what?
And then you see fire. Again, it's fire. You see fire that opens a scene, and then Ben. All right, so at the Double R, a distraught Shelley has to tell Norma that she's quitting. Very hard to watch. And while Big Ed and Nadine stop in for milkshakes, before long, everyone is brought into Nadine's high school delusion.
Yeah, the way this scene starts with Shelley just like struggling to get out the words that she's quitting. Like she doesn't want to let Norma down. I think this semi-parental relationship, it's the best thing in Shelley's life. It's the most stable thing.
Absolutely.
It's probably the most true thing in her life as well, because I don't think Norma has a malicious bone in her body. I think she actually obviously genuinely cares for Shelley.
No, real love. Real love.
Yeah, it is real love. And it is a maternal love. It feels like it's more than just, a friend sort of or boss or mentor. It really feels maternal. And I feel so bad for Shelley. But to see the relief on her face when Norma assures her, no matter what, if you want to work somewhere else, I'm going to come and get you. You're coming back to me. It's great. And just to see Shelley go from barely even be able to eke out a word to like this some amount of relief that she gets from that is really great. But then we spin the whole thing around and we get Nadine and coming in with poor Ed, just having to do this in front, play along with Nadine's delusion in front of Norma is just crazy. He's doing so much with his face and expressive eyebrows. It's just holy moly. And just Shelley having to like play along too. Everyone's just like, okay, I guess we're going with this now. Except Norma does say that she's been, working there for 20 years before she, I guess, really catches on to what's going on.
Ed's just like, ha 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 ha. Oh, you card.
Oh, you kidder. I do like, as Nadine breaks the glass and the blood and the milkshake everywhere, just her spinning on the stool with her hand in front of her face. Like, it's just almost like a poetic sort of composition to that shot and just spinning around in awe of what's going on there. I don't know what to make of it, but it's a very beautiful shot. It especially starts like playing with the slop of the milkshake and the blood together.
Yeah, it's wild. It's really weird. Machen Amick is always great. So, I mean, what else can you say about her? I love Nadine's sweater. I think I'm a big fan of the Nadine sweater here. She's just so unhinged, and the blood and the mix of like adrenaline and sex and the danger of it. Like when she goes in to kiss him and you're like, oh, she's going to kill somebody. Because she also has like this sex drive that we're just hinting at now that may explode in the future. I love that you mentioned like Big Ed, like just the way he handles the thing when she's asking like, is it your house or my house? And he's like, that's right. And just running with it. Yeah. And I don't know. I think I'm good on this scene. It's just they're very good. The blood is weird. It's a strange story. But Wendy Roby is so good. She can pull it off, and the actors really elevate the scene, and I like it.
It's the same as we said last time as well. It's like on its own, the story isn't great, but everyone participating in it makes it good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so Bobby's going to show Mike the late Leo Johnson, and the two of them find something hidden in his boot.
All I got to say is thank God Mike's back.
He's back. It hasn't been since Rest in Pain, all the way since episode 3. of season 1. Guy's on a hit TV show, and it's like, just getting his script pages. Like, I'm not in it again.
Guys, where am I? Yeah, I mean, he had a lot to do in the first few episodes, and now nothing.
Yeah, he's going to be back more regular. I don't know if he's in the next one, but then he's in many more episodes.
Fantastic. But we get him in there. They find the shoe, break open the... Oh, no, sorry, they didn't find the shoe. He goes and retrieves the shoe from the repair shop, right? Is that where it was?
Yeah, because in the earlier scene, like when he says new shoes, Bobby asked Shelley, like, was he buying shoes? He's like, no, I took a pair of boots in to get fixed, and then I got the receipt. So he goes to get the shoe from the repairman or whatever.
Right. Because in my mind, I just keep thinking of the loose plank with the shoe underneath it.
He does a lot of shoe-based.
Which is not that.
Leo needs a new pair of shoes. We saw it all the way back in when they're in the woods.
Yeah. I have to apologize because in that scene, I think I said something at the time, or at least I thought it strongly if I didn't say it. But the way that he delivered, Leo needs a new pair of shoes, and like takes the flashlight and points it down. It felt so stilted.
It was
great.
great.
It's like, oh, okay. It just takes us 9 episodes later for it to get back to new shoes.
Well, that's why you got to listen to the subtleties that I'm going to pushing back on you hard. And I'm like, no, this is actually really good.
No, everything's a surprise to me. It's all good.
I always like Gary Hirschberger, so I'm very happy that he's back. Little bits about Bobby. Now, I'm one to defend Bobby. Like, we have these great moments with Bobby, but he treats Shelley like complete trash. First off, he walks in. Is Shelley, you there? Like, he doesn't even know when she's working. Who is watching Leo? You know it's his probably turn to watch Leo. That she probably said, I got to go in and quit my job with Norma. I just need you to cover Leo for like this 1 hour. And he's out with Mike doing whatever. He doesn't even know that she's there. I think the scene is very funny with Mike, where Mike's like, do you have a hammer? Like, I know about these guys, they hide stuff in their shoes. Like and Bobby's like, well, you don't think I looked in there? And then he's like, get me a hammer. And you think they're going to do something like delicate. And Bobby just starts whacking the thing. Like, thank God there's not like a Fabergé egg or something, or like a very rare calico critter inside. He's just whacking this thing to get his little micro cassette. The only other note that I will say is proof that Leo's a huge fan of clowns, because in this room, there's a big picture of a clown on the wall. So now when you think about Leo's birthday party, there is clowns. So he likes clowns.
Really did.
Who changes
nice,
Leo? I mean, it's got to be Shelley. It's not going to be Bobby.
Oh, God.
How awful is her life? Like, she has the worst life right now
really
of
terrible.
anyone in the town.
Absolutely.
All right, so back at the sheriff's station, Cooper has pieced together what remains of the diary. Among the entries, one stands out. Audrey Horne shares information she learned about her father, and a warrant is issued for his arrest.
We talked about this a little bit, just hinted at before, but I do like that on the table where Coop is putting together the diary, the pieces of it back together, we do have a plate of a dozen donuts right out there.
Yeah, you need that.
Arranged beautifully. Always within arm's reach, there's going to be a plate of a dozen donuts, which is fantastic. So I think what you were referring to, the among all the entries, one stands out when he says that Bob was a friend of her father's.
No, well, certainly, but he says, I'm going to tell the world about Ben Horne. I'm going to tell them who Ben Horne really is.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Which is not the same as the diary.
No, I don't remember that in there. So
the diary is, I'm going to tell the world about Benjamin, period. So it is the entry from October 5th, 1989. P.S. I'm going to have to tell the world about Benjamin. So yes. So there's a little, changes here and there, but the idea is the same. And in the book, we remember her referring to it as a friend of the family. So that part, made it in, which was cool to see those connections.
Well, I'm actually just trying to remember that part. So
yeah, she had said at one point that it was she's saying, like, who could Bob be? I think she says, like, it could be a friend of the family. All right, so this is from the diary. This is from September 10th, 1986. This is Laura writing. He mocks me, entering dressed in the clothes of one who could be a best friend, a neighbor, a traveling salesman who casually invites himself in, goes as far as to request coffee regular before dissolving into the daydream he sometimes is. So that's one thing of a neighbor. Maybe it's not exactly a friend of the family, but there is a connection of that. And obviously there's multiple times where she's talking about having sex with her father's employers.
I was just trying to remember, am I misremembering, or did I not remember something where she kind of said that? But that's fine. More importantly though, Cooper is starting to put these pieces together. This is where Audrey really does look to me completely strung out, crazed. She's not dealing well coming down right now. Poor thing.
Right, because it's a lot. She knows what these words could mean for her father's future and for the case. Well, the big thing here, Dan, is as soon as he's there, he's with the diary. He's going through friends of the family, multiple things with Bob. He knows he's looking for Bob. And then one day I'm going to tell the world about Ben Horn. What happens at that same moment? Audrey comes in.
Gentlemen, when two separate events occur simultaneously pertaining to the same object of inquiry, we must always pay strict attention.
Except it led him astray.
Well, yes, but
I mean, or it didn't, because this is the way it was supposed to happen. So who knows? But yes, one must still pay attention.
But yeah, no, you covered it. I mean, Audrey, great. Sherilyn Fenn does a really good job. It's a good scene. All right, so we're at the Great Northern. Ben's deal with Mr. Tajimura goes south. When the police arrive to take him in, he'd rather have a sandwich. As would I.
So I was watching this. My partner Joe isn't watching, but he happened to be in the kitchen and was just kind of sort of paying half attention as I was watching this. And one thing he says is, "What's going on with that Japanese guy?"
Okay, that's good.
Super funny. It was great. And I was like, "Oh, huh."
Did you press him to see? Because this is a big. We'll get to it later. Whether or not people know the identity. I would love to know, because he's coming from nowhere.
No, he thought it was someone dressed up.
Oh, he did. Okay, that you're answering it.
But he did not think it was a woman.
Okay,
he thought, oh, it's that other guy. It's that other guy dressed up as blah blah. I don't forget who he said he thought it was, because he didn't know the characters' names either.
I thought you said Bob Loblaw.
Why should you go to jail for a crime someone else noticed? You don't need double talk. You need Bob Loblaw.
Bob Loblaw took a break from his Loblaw, and so anyway, I just thought it was super funny. He's like, "What's up with the Japanese guys?" Like, that's a really good question.
Yeah, we'll
find
to
out
that
soon. But so like, we haven't revealed yet that it's Catherine, but we're gonna get there. So no big spoiler because you've already seen this episode. But so she was able to really set up a whole other identity in Tokyo in 2-3 days.
Well, not necessarily in Tokyo.
Although she may have had, who knows? Catherine, I feel like, is being underplayed for the amount of scheming she could be up to. Maybe she had 12 different plates spinning at any time. It was something else was going on. Maybe she had a whole other identity set up for some other purpose and had to use it for this. Who knows?
She's got her own connections. You will, in the future episode, you will hear, she will tell what she did from the events. You don't get all the details. Like, you don't get, and then I set up and I hired these Japanese guys to, I don't think it goes that deep, but you do find out what she did and then where she goes. And whatever.
But it was great. I mean, he did his due diligence and checked her out.
Yeah.
This is all good. And he's ready to go. And then when they come in, I love Harry in this scene because you can see how hard he is exerting self-control to not just bodily take him down right there. He is just incredible in this scene. And he's had a couple moments just like this before where you can just see all the conflicting emotions on his face, but he is sworn to his duty and he's going to do that first, just like our pal Coop. Like, this is the kind of guy he is, but he just wants to, like, love to drag him through the lobby there. Just the delusion that Ben is in, that he's just like, screw this, I'm just gonna go get a sandwich. Like, this is not something you're gonna do to me, is terrific. And just to catch him off like that and to literally drag him out is fantastic.
I would just say this is me every time I've committed to a social event and then the date arrives and there's like, you have to go.
Get out of here. Go on. I'm gonna go out for a sandwich.
No!
I feel exactly like Ben Horn. I love that he obviously all the horn stuff and the food, and then that's where he's going. But he's such a great performer because he's losing it. Like he's losing it when he's dismissing it. And I've had many fantasies about people in power that finally will find accountability in some form, and it would go exactly like this. Reality, it's not necessarily happening, but I love this scene. I love the way he plays it. Richard Beymer he's just fantastic actor. I think you nailed it with Harry. You know, this is a murder that is on his watch in his town, and he's going to solve it. And this is the guy, and it's all come to this, and nothing's going to stop him. And I love when he threatens Cooper, he's like, I know people in high places. He's like, I think you better go with them. Like, it's over for you, Ben. And if you feel like Ben did it, this is a triumphant moment. You're like, we got the guy. Like and when he's being dragged away, and you're in the audience and you're checking the clock and you're like, we're a little early in the episode for this to happen, but okay. But there's a little bit of doubt maybe creeping in, but I was still like, they're getting him, and like, you're rooting for these guys because we got the bad guy.
Well, I mean, the Cooper and Harry have absolutely no doubt at all. I think you're right. When I said what delusion Ben has, just like, no, this isn't happening to me. I'm going to go get a sandwich. You're totally right. He is fooling himself, if no one else. He is in the same way that Harry is. You can see him fighting multiple emotions on his face. I think Ben is fighting the absolute terror that he has at the same time. Even though he knows, like, I didn't murder her. Like, I'm fine. What 1,000 other things could they get him in for? So the last place he wants to be is in a holding cell right now.
And he's at his most vulnerable. He's constantly in charge. His brother is away, right? Sleeping with every geisha wherever. His daughter just confronted him about trying to sleep with her. He admitted to being in love with a girl who's dead. So he knows, like, he's vulnerable. Like, he's like a cornered animal at this point. And I love the way he handles the scene while still trying to hold on to that control. And it's just gone. Hello, it's Eric. Welcome to the midpoint. By now, you're probably used to the midpoint. You're like, it's the midpoint. But you're not going to skip over because you're going to hear about the wonderful people that are hanging out with us in the Black Lodge. Of course, there's Banjo Track. There's Dawn Adamo. There's Gregory Flanagan. And there's Chuck Suffel. I may want all my Garmonbozia, but you will have my heart forever. How did they get here? How did they get a shout out like this? Because they have joined our Patreon, which is available right now. So if you want to support the show, you can stop by and sign up for free or do one of the paid tiers that gets you the secret podcasts, and you help us out. Go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile, and you should see a link for the Patreon there. All right, let's get back to the proper episode. All right, so we're going to go to the Palmer home. A record waits to be flipped. Listen to the sounds. And Sarah has trouble on the stairs.
Listen to the sounds. That was...
That's going to be a record skipping in the return for... that's not a spoiler for anything.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I mean, the skipping record, the background music, looking over the carpet where Maddie saw the blood, it's just so unnerving.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I meant. This is one of the scenes where I meant, like, it's the mundane juxtaposed with this creeping sense of dread that makes it even more powerful. It gets even obviously heightened when we get the actual, like, physical confrontation, but in this moment, on the surface, there's not a whole lot going on. Yeah, okay, granted, it's crazy that she's sliding down the stairs stomach first to climb, to get into the living room, but it's I don't know, it just sets a mood. It's such a brief scene, but so effective. And this is where everything, that roller coaster ratcheting up, coming towards the top, it's really clicking into gear right
Yeah. Well, because you're coming off of a scene that's supposed to be triumphant, that's supposed to be the height of it, and then you're going down, and then he drops you into the Palmer home, and you're hearing a record skip, which already sets up some anxiety, but it's also a repeating nature. It's happening again. Like, you're caught in this thing because we failed to stop him. Bob said, I will kill again. and it's coming, and that floor crawl shot, like, God damn it, that's so much just fire. And then of course we're going up the stairs, and how many times have we seen that stair shot looking up the stairs, and there she's crawling down, and we're going to find out why, because she's drugged. I just love that she's calling for Leland for help, and I wonder, like, is she calling for help, Leland help, or is she calling because she knows?
Oh God!
Like, she knows it's Leland, and then you see the fan, and of course, goddamn,
the fan. Yeah. I mean, even just that. Like, I practically gasped when they showed the fan, and I'm sure Joe was standing like a commercial, like, what? What are you talking about? But it's terrifying. But that's such a good point. We even mentioned this in one of the first episodes when she says something about Leland, and it could be read in a double meaning as well. Yeah. But I do like that that's in there, that you can read it a different way as well. It's great for such a small scene.
Yeah, it's just a buildup. And it's like he's just such a master of pacing, because you're like, the guy's got him, we got him. And then it's just a little bit, it's a small, you don't get the whole reveal here. You just get a little bit of something's off. Mm-hmm. The music isn't playing, right? It's skipping. Like, something is off. And then, of course, she's down the stairs. But with Sarah, that could be just a Tuesday. All right, so we're going to jump over to the station. Ben is booked and placed in a holding cell, and the log lady has a message for Cooper. There are owls at the roadhouse.
Yeah, we got all the action. This is the composition of the shot is great. In the distance in the shot, we have Ben with the police officers struggling. He's getting booked. And then stepping into frame is the log first. And then Margaret. So we get the two of them out of focus, and they come into focus, and Cooper comes up. I think it's such an effective way to frame that shot, just stepping in. And Margaret says, "We don't know what will happen or when, but there are owls in the roadhouse." I like the "we."
Yeah.
Presumably it's her and the log.
Yeah.
But maybe it's this greater set. Like, there are these other players in all of this, and it made me think, like, the giant saying, like, he has rules. There are certain things he's not allowed to say. I'm not saying that Margaret is one of them, but she's in touch with it in some way. So I don't know. I like the ambiguity of what the "we" is. It's awesome. Is great.
Oh man, this scene, God damn it. Because for me, I can still put myself back where I was, thinking I was right, hearing that skipping, and you're like, what? And then when Margaret steps into frame, and you can feel the wind, like, you can feel, like, the light through the trees, like, it gets very serious. And when Cooper says,
"Something is happening, isn't it, Margaret?"
Yes.
That's when I was like, I got it wrong. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what? The whole time, it's like your whole body is like, what the fuck is going on? And as you go into the rest of this episode, and Kyle McLaughlin, the way he delivers it, his voice it's so awesome of the power that's at play with, like, you can tell that he doesn't understand what's going on. He knows it's serious. He knows he fucked up. But there's, like, a reverence to something is happening, isn't it, Margaret? Like, you can feel the way how he's reserved, the restraint in his voice when he delivers it is fantastic. And Catherine Coulson, my God, like, she's not in the show a lot, but when she's in it, you know that it's a connection to the mythological world, unless she's putting pitch gum on the wall of the double R. But otherwise, it's like, it's serious. But you can feel, like, the shift in mood, that when Ben goes one direction, because that's the wrong direction, Cooper's coming this direction. Like, this is where the real action is in the foreground. I love it.
Yeah, this is kind of like the last third of this episode. And you're right, from this moment on, it's like, okay, I thought we were going here, but actually no, I was being led by the nose on purpose, and now we're going to find out what's actually happening.
Well, meanwhile, we have one more stop to make. Pete's late night sandwich is interrupted by a bi-curious foreigner. Oh no, wait, it's Catherine. Our national nightmare is over, Dan. We can find
coming out of with a kiss attack. I love this. It's such a tense scene too, Pete in the dark. Was he making a sandwich or something?
Yeah, he's making a sandwich.
With his big glass of milk, and you just see a shadowy figure. Pete hears something, and was like, it's play like things. You're right. Like the tone has changed. Things got really serious, and this looks like this could be a really big scene.
You don't know what because it's in shadows.
Right, but then you see that's Mr. Tajimura. You're like, wait, what is he doing there? This reveal of it being Catherine. And when she takes the glasses off and speaks with her own voice in that makeup, it is the most crazy thing. I don't know why it just really is so effective, but it's great. And then the two of them Pete finally recognizing what's happening and really accepting it. Like he recognized it, but then it takes him a beat to actually accept that she's there. And then just the two of them laughing, you look awful. Just like falling onto each other. And I don't know, what was your read on Catherine with Pete too? Because it really felt genuine. Like she was very happy to.
Yeah, I always feel like there is a hint of that in her, of love in him for her, and clearly from him to her.
Yes.
So that scene was always like really sweet, even though like I don't know. We got to talk about the reveal. I remember being surprised, but I asked my sister and her husband because we all watched it together, and John was like, her husband, "Oh, we knew." But I remember being surprised here. There's no way we watched it and one of them didn't say it, so I have to assume that I did know.
Yeah.
When you watch it now, it's clearly obvious. Like, there's no question.
Right.
It's Piper Laurie in makeup that you could never do today. Like,
No.
yeah,
I'd imagine. Do you have a Blu-ray version of this? Or
Yeah.
a DVD?
Yeah.
So even from a direct transfer and best possible quality of it, it's not great. It must have been so much better on broadcast TV on a low res television. Where
Sure.
it can
Yeah.
hide all of that stuff. But it just makes me laugh to think like Pete, in the previous episode, offering to buy a sake or maybe a glass of milk, and they're standing, 6 inches from each other.
Yeah.
This woman that he's known since teenagers basically, and didn't recognize that makeup job. But anyway. And just such a wonderful scene to finally get that release for them.
And they have that nice connection of the last previous scene. I am very happy that this is over, like this charade that she's doing. One thing I forgot to mention was they have been crediting Fumio Yamaguchi the whole time, and that's Catherine.
Yeah.
So they say no one knew, like on set. I mean, I can't imagine did they just not admit to it out loud? But clearly, you would like if it looks obvious to us, like what would it look under the lights?
The only thing I could say is maybe they didn't know it was Piper Laurie, but that it was someone in makeup. There's no way no one.
Yeah, they must have. I'm sure they must have known. I read that in like one interview or something with the director or something. So I don't know if that's 100% true that no one knew. But it's nice. Yeah, I'm glad it's over though. I'm glad it's over, and I want Catherine back. Yeah, it's weird, but like you could like dressing up like an Asian man is just not. That's of things that are dated about the show. This is one of the.
This is probably one of the
biggest.
Worst. Not since what. Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's has it been? It's with the voice and everything. Thank you for being done with this.
Right, and then bringing up Nagasaki.
I know.
So
just no.
But hey,
done.
Move
on.
We're moving on. We're not even going to talk about that. Okay, so we're back at the Palmers. Sarah sees a vision, and Leland takes some time to fix his tie. God.
Oh my God. Just Sarah, man. Getting this, I guess getting psychically overwhelmed with what's happening. I know that there's going to be more symbolism with the horse, but seeing this here, call back to possibly Sarah's horse as a child and everything that happened that we saw in the diary. I don't know. I don't know.
Laura's pony Troy. You said Sarah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? Did I say Sarah? No. Sorry, I meant Laura's. Laura's horse Troy from the diary.
Well, there is stuff with Sarah as a kid, though, that you say that, but I'll add that in there.
Okay, fantastic. Can't wait to find out again. But no, it's just beautiful. This symbolism that I don't need to understand yet. I just need to feel.
Yeah.
That's great. That's all you need is just to feel it. The simple use of a crossfade and a bright spotlight to tell the story of what's going on several times throughout this episode specifically, but throughout the series. But in this episode, just a stark white spot and a crossfade does so much work. When today we rely on millions and millions of dollars and hundreds of person hours to render, photorealistic computer effects. You don't need it.
Spotlight.
You don't need it all. And the feeling is what you needed. And it's beautiful to see.
No.
But that's it. We got that. Sarah passes out from, I'm just my own feeling about this, like the psychic, like overwhelming of this. It's happening again. It's in her house. Leland is, 10 paces away, straightening his tie in the mirror. It's just, oh God, this is so great.
No, it's
this
insane.
is I've been dying to talk about this.
No,
with
there's
you,
so
this
much
part's
like
great.
what the fuck is happening at this moment. So for me, like the horse, like it could be, Troy that we said, it's not a pony. It's not described as a white horse, but she's been drugged, or you can look at her as being drugged, or you can listen to me say that she's been drugged. And like a white horse is a symbol of like drugs, right? So it's a tie there. There's also death, right? It's the pale horse, the death rider.
Yeah.
In the return, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler, you mentioned a young Sarah, but in the episode number 8, where they talk about the horse is the white of the eyes, in that episode, there's a young girl. I won't say things that happen because we're going to do that episode. That could be Sarah. You could read that as a younger Sarah.
Oh, yes.
That's connected to the horse is the white of the eyes. And then here's the horse. You're going to see the horse again in Fire Walk with Me. So this would be the second horse in that timeline.
Gotcha.
I love this scene. Again, you don't know. I didn't know yet it was Leland, but subconsciously you know it's Leland. Because it's there and you feel it subconsciously on this deep level, and you don't want to admit it. And I love the way that Lynch frames that shot when he's fixing his tie in the camera, because you see his shadow falling in the center, but his face is on the left side. It's like the mirror is broken up into like 3 parts. He's vertically in the center, but his face is on the left. It's a man apart. Like he's skewed. He's not himself. And you see that like subconsciously before the next time when we go back, when we see his reflection. And it's so well done. And again, the skipping record and her passing out, and she's going to be out cold for going forward. God, it's a lot.
It's so good.
And then you're in the roadhouse. Like you know, like every time you go back to this thing, something bad's gonna happen. And then you're taken out of it. And it works so well. So we're gonna be at the roadhouse. Julie Cruz performs to a packed house. Donna and James discuss the fate of Harold Smith. Cooper, Harry, and the log lady have a drink, and the giant shares some bad news.
This is such a scene. First of all, I will say, "Rockin' Back Inside My Heart" might be my favorite song that Julie Cruz
it's fantastic.
does. It's such a good song.
Lyrics by David Lynch, music by Angelo Badalamenti, and obviously vocals by Julie Cruz. Same thing with
it is so good.
The World Spins, which we're going to get to.
Okay, it's wonderful. It's a great performance. The band is great. I do like we have several pieces of story threads coming together in one place. Donna and James there. James is trying to absolve them all of their complicity in Harold's death, but Donna knows the truth. She's right. She violated Harold. Like, for once, Donna is actually owning up to this and being, seeing things clearly and trying to take responsibility for it. At the same time, also really wanting to be absolved, but can't quite get there because she knows that she was really part of this. The shot of Cooper and Margaret and Harry coming in, looking for the owls, is fantastic.
I wish I was at that table.
You're going to get your hand ripped off if you reach for the peanuts.
Margaret is housing those peanuts.
They all are, to be fair, but Cooper gives her a look at one point.
Yeah.
Like he's expecting her to just shove them all into her mouth with the shells on, like a squirrel. It's great, but she's just plowing
She is working
through
it,
the peanuts. And Cooper is even like, when they're playing the Rock Back to My Heart, he's bopping along to it a little bit as well. So it's such a funny thing because presumably they're there because of Margaret's warning that the owls are in the roadhouse. But at the same time, they're all just kind of sitting back and enjoying the show. They're not policing.
I see it a little bit differently.
Okay.
Yes, Margaret, and this is a wonderful choice that Catherine Coulson makes to just work on those peanuts like they're going out of style.
Yes.
Like she is perfect. She's not being weird and spooky. She's being the log lady, and I love it.
Yes.
I see Harry being more like, I'm just following this nut along.
Yes.
But I do see Cooper as nervous, more like trying to figure out this puzzle because he knows intuitively that he's got something wrong and he hasn't figured out what that is yet.
Right. And he knows that he's where he needs to be. I feel like maybe I would agree with you as it progresses, but in this first moment when they're sitting down, he is just sitting there bopping a little bit to the music.
But what is music? What about the music, the dreams, the snapping? Music is the gateway to the Red Room, as we're going to see him sort of halfway go in when he's between two worlds at the end. But it's not like I'm relaxed. It's he's trying to connect.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe just sink into it and let it kind of take over.
Yeah, because he's coming off. Something is happening, Margaret. Like he knows something is up.
Just the small things, like all the sailors everywhere.
Yeah, from that we saw at the Roadhouse. Yeah,
it's so many more of them. They're just everywhere. The scene is shot kind of chaotically too, as it pans across the crowd and everything's there. I know you.
Okay.
Donna's not your favorite, but I love Donna lip singing to James.
It's wonderful.
Rocking Back Inside My Heart. The two of them. I think for some reason it just really works. Like it is sultry. It is seductive. It's also honest. Like I think she really feels that way about him.
I love this. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of all of it. And it was not an accident, but I've heard Julie Cruz talk that they have an interesting relationship, Julie Cruz and David Lynch, and there's some fighting and they don't talk for a number of years and then they sort of came back together. But apparently he didn't like how much she was moving on stage and she kept moving. And so he does the scene with Don. It's like a happy little accident. That's why she does the lip syncing thing instead of showing Julie Cruz. But he loves it. So it's like one of those things where she keeps moving. Now he's got to shoot something else, and the thing he shoots is so perfect and wonderful that thank God it went that way. I love it.
Well, and I think it works because of what happens later in the scene. In this moment, the two of them are trying to reconcile what happened. Maddie's leaving. Maddie never said anything to her. Of course she didn't say anything to you, Donna. Was she going to hug you and cry and say goodbye? No, anyway, so that makes sense.
Right. Just one thing before you go on it. Because you were saying all these things about like Donna, she's trying to own up for it. In my notes, I was waiting to jump in and be like, and then she immediately says like, Maddie didn't say anything when she leaves. She's like, the last time you hung out with her, a crazy person that you introduced to her tried to cut his face with a garden weasel. Like, I think she needs some time.
Because you were breaking and entering. Yeah. She'll get back to you about that.
But go on.
But the two of them, James and Donna seem like maybe they're reconciling. He seems to like really, be into this. She seems earnest when she's saying, rocking back inside my heart. I want to be back with you again. This is great. I'm such a dum-dum sometimes. I pay attention to some things and other things slip right by me. It was Joe that pointed out to me at first that sitting next to Bobby at the bar was the waiter. Obviously, we see him later in the scene, so I would have finally recognized it. But he's like, "Oh, is that the giant sitting next to Bobby?" I was like,
the waiter.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Yeah,
the waiter from the hotel. I'm like, "Oh, well, yes, but no, not really. But yeah, kind of." Right. But anyway, I just didn't notice the two. Like, he goes to the Roadhouse. Everybody goes to the Roadhouse.
There are owls at the Roadhouse. He is an owl. Yeah,
he had to be there. So that was very cool. What else? And then we get to the moment, like you said, between the two worlds, the giant appearing, everything freezing. I want to say one thing, and this might be a mistake, or maybe it's intentional, or maybe it's both. But when everything freezes, and we have that crossfade, and it's still, and we have the light comes up, and the giant speaking. When it turns and shows Cooper for the first time, there's the spotlight, white light on him. Everyone's frozen except for Cooper and Margaret. So Margaret is actually stroking the log in that moment. Everyone has frozen. They show that crossfade and everyone's frozen, and it turns around to him, and she is still moving and stroking the log.
She's with him. Yeah.
But then later she's not, or she's cropped out so you can't quite see. So I don't know how much of that's intentional, how much of that is symbolism of she knows things are going on but can't quite perceive all of that. Where does she sit in relationship to all of these things? I think it was just very interesting. So whether it's a mistake or intentional or not doesn't matter. I love the result of it is great.
I didn't notice that detail. I was so caught up in Cooper. But if she's moving, I like the idea that she is connected to she's talking about Owl. She's talking to the log. Like she is, that would totally make sense. You mentioned like seeing the waiter, like when you see the waiter, like your blood pressure goes up. Like you're like, there are owls at the roadhouse. Like, why do we keep going back? And this thing is, and now, okay, it's all happening. And when they switch over and the music switches, and then we go to the world spins and like the lyrics, dust is dancing in the space, a dog and bird are far away, the sun comes up and down each day, and then it is happening again, which the song is about a revolving earth, a world turning, things happening, and what's happening again, another murder. We knew the record is skipping. We're stuck in this loop. God damn it. It's just such a wonderful, and those, I mentioned those lyrics are also written by David Lynch.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right, so we're going to go to the Palmers. The identity of Laura's killer is finally revealed, and Maddie goes back to Missoula, Montana.
You monster. You absolute monster.
Well, she does. I mean, she literally goes back to Missoula, Montana.
I mean, this reveal of Bob in the mirror is everything. It is just, it's, again, you don't need to do anything really complicated to have the effect that you need. And it's just, I imagine a one-way glass shot through. So you get the, it's a fake mirror. Then you get the reverse shot of Leland and Bob superimposed over him laughing. Technically, nothing impressive. But for the story and the emotion, nightmarish. And it is so effective. Maddie upstairs, as Leland Bob starts putting the gloves on, and poor Maddie upstairs, Aunt Sarah, Uncle Leland, Aunt Sarah, and the panic in her voice of, what's that smell? Something's burning, and the spotlight on her. This scene is so disturbing, so distressing. It is visceral. The violence is palpable. It is, I can't believe this is on TV. I don't think it would air today. You have a shot of over Maddie's shoulder. Leland's grabbing her and punches her in the face. You don't see the contact, thank God, but you feel it.
It is the most violent thing.
It is the most violent thing I've
It is very hard to watch.
Worse, I mean, to me, worse than anything where it's over-the-top gore and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, whatever. This, again, malevolent presence inhabiting Leland, the reveal of the killer, attacking Maddie in their living room in this domestic setting. I've said it so many times, but I think this is the point of it, is the supernatural, the violent, macabre in a completely mundane setting is just incredibly effective. That punch to the face, and you see Maddie, she does have blood coming down her mouth. Like I said, the violence is overwhelming. And then I'm so interested in this, like, back and forth between Bob and Leland. How much is it like a sliding scale back and forth between Leland's it's like the two of them are almost dancing. Bob and Leland are almost dancing, because it feels like when Leland actually has Maddie in his arms, he's saying, Laura, my baby, that it's Leland there. But then they have the shots where it keeps intercutting between it's Leland, it's Bob, it's Leland, it's Bob. She's my sister, she's my mother, she's my sister. It's
right. I think that is some of the most important thing, right? Because you have this spotlight to show sort of the demonic, and then when it's the mundane, domestic setting, it's Leland. But he makes a point of when Leland kills her, the spotlight's not on. It's Leland, because this is domestic abuse in a house. This is going on all across America. This is men sexually assaulting and killing women in their home. So clearly Bob is inhabiting Leland. We're going to talk all about the mythology and when he was a little boy, but you can look at this as a horrific metaphor of the violence that is going on in our homes. And the fact that it's you see sort of the spotlight and then it's Bob, but at the end it's Leland. And I want to talk more about some of that stuff at the end, but I find that so powerful.
I don't want to undercut any of that because I think that's really powerful and really astute. But the only thing that gives me pause on that is you're right. We see it through the camera. It's no spotlight. It's Leland there. But he says, in Bob's voice, presumably, Leland says you're going back to Missoula, Montana, and Ramsey. So he wouldn't be.
No, you're being too literal, I think, on that. And I have questions about that. And I wonder, when he says, Leland says you're going back to Missoula, Montana, in my head, I feel like there is still some Leland in there. And Bob wants to possess Maddie. He's coming out or over the couch. He's decided, I can't have Laura. She's dead. I'm going. And Leland, whether he's the little boy inside, whether he's in control some of the time and loses control most of the time, is saying, no, she's going back to Missoula, Montana, because that morning when they had that thing, it was Leland trying to get her out, trying to do some last heroic thing. And when Bob hears this in his head, he's mocking him and saying, Leland says you're going back to, Montana, Missoula, Montana. Here you're going back literally into the Missoula, Montana painting. So yeah, that line I get. But just the fact that the light turns off, these horrific things are not always someone else's problem. Like that's what
I want to say.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on that. He cannot say it wasn't him. I think it is whether Bob's in the driver's seat and Leland's just along for the ride, or he's complicit in part of this because he was corrupted from a young age. Not his fault that he was corrupted, but he is responsible for this as well. I think that is being made clear in this.
Yeah, just painting and symbols and metaphors and stuff, but certainly there is a story, a narrative that has Bob as in it, but you can feel this in a way that is like just horrifying, because this is what people, and after reading the diary, you can read the diary as there's no Bob at all, we talked about, and it's a girl suffering from abuse, and here it is, we're watching it happen. No one's there to help her. No one was there to help Laura. No one's here to help Maddie. And it's so tragic, and that's why I also really love Demons, the previous episode, and as it relates to this episode. Like when you see Maddie, that nice scene with Maddie and James, she's talking about becoming herself again. Because when you think about her being in the dream and becoming more like Laura. So we know Bob is like prepping Maddie for this. So what has she been going through? She's been going through fear and pleasure. The pleasure of like inserting herself in with James and coming onto James. At the same time, she's been terrorized. She sees her own blood on the carpet going back to coma. She sees her own death. She's tormented by Bob. He's so he's feeding her these two things. He's giving her a whole big healthy thing of garmonbozia. It's just such a powerful scene. And I can't imagine what Cheryl Lee went through to film this, because they filmed this 3 times. So a lot of the directors knew. Harley Payton knew, Bob Engels knew, obviously Mark Frost and David Lynch knew, but no one else really knew. So including the crew, and it was big and they didn't want like a leak to happen. So they had scripts where Ben is the killer, and they had obviously this one with Leland, and they shot Ben doing all of this, killing Maddie. They shot Leland killing Maddie, and they shot Bob killing Frank Silva killing Maddie. And she had to shoot that back to back. 14 hours of this like brutal, I can't imagine how, like I've heard Ray Wise talk, and they would like make jokes in between cut, like just to keep the mood up. But God damn it, that would be mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. Just, it's so much for somebody to do that young. I mean, she's probably in her 20s at the time.
Oh, anyone. I mean, no matter the training that she has. I mean, if she was method, she would be ruined. There's no way to get through all of that. But I mean, just the intercutting between Bob and Leland, and how physical Bob gets with her. He's like sucking on her chin at one point, and I just felt like felt so much empathy for for Maddie, but also, the actors involved as well, and how difficult this scene must have been to do. Also, just, small thing, but the effectiveness of it being slowed down to like half speed or even slower. Yet the sounds are incredible. It sounds like wild animals. She's screaming, "Somebody help me!" And there's just no one. And this is a neighborhood. There's how their houses around. Like within 50 feet, there's probably someone who could have helped her, and it's absolutely not going to happen.
And then when we cut out from that slowed down, horrible Bob, like it's a pathetic crying Leland asking for Laura, my baby, Laura. So there's this damaged, whatever is left of Leland at that point that's grappling with whatever he's done and whatever he's about to do.
I mean, he's being tortured through all of this.
So disturbing.
And then it ends
the letter
with
O.
the thing that's been my nightmares from the beginning is just not seeing it being taken out, but seeing it put in this time. What? Joe was watching it too. He's like, "What is he doing?" It's like, "Oh, you don't want to know."
Ray Wise was very upset too, because he didn't know that he was good. He the whole time, he was worried. He wanted to be Ben or someone else. Like, didn't want it to be him because he knew once it was him, he had to leave the show eventually. So he tells a story like when they brought him in and Richard Bamer, and they brought them into the Lynch's office where Mark Frost and David Lynch were there.
David just leaned over and he put his hand on my knee and he said, "Ray, it's you. It was always you." And I remember hearing that, processing it for a second, and then thinking, "Oh, no."
And he was just crushed because at the time he had a young daughter, and like he couldn't imagine like being this character that would do such a thing. But his performance is great, and we get a gift for the next 2 episodes in some of the best performances that Ray Wise is going to do. So there's some good stuff. I have some things I want to talk about because as we've been doing this show, I've been just jotting notes down where it's like, okay, Leland's obvious. This is, So in the pilot, you alluded to this, I think, just earlier tonight. Sarah Palmer says, like, "Who's upstairs?"
Who's upstairs?
Your husband and one of my men.
Now, when we do see Leland, he's in her bed. He's sitting on her bed.
Her diary?
You have to take that.
By the way, I have to do a correction. We had said, for the record, I think I said in the first episode was the first time Hawk speaks. I forgot there's a whole scene with Hawk and Leland in the pilot where Hawk talks. He's in the room. He's the one I think he finds the diary. It's fine. If you made it this far and then you were holding that against me, I've corrected my error. This doesn't count as much, but in the international pilot, Leland! When Sarah does her jump up and you see Bob in the mirror, she says Leland. And then it cuts away. Whatever. I don't know if that's going to count. In Rest in Pain, Dan.
Yes.
If you have, I don't know if you have any you want to throw, if I miss any.
No. This is the...
In Rest in Pain, in the funeral scene, Leland leaps onto the coffin and it goes up and down, a visual representation of his abuse.
Yep.
In the diary, the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, the actual diary, not the episode, Leland is referred to as liking the woods too.
Mm-hmm.
As well as she likes the woods. And the log lady says sometimes people go camping and learn things that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, there's a ton of things in the diary, tons of evidence about abuse in the home and her questioning her parents if they're so close by. The last entry that she writes in the diary, she says, "I do not want to have certain memories and realizations of him." And when you read that again, knowing that at that moment she's just realized that her father has been abusing her, it hits a lot differently, and it's very, very hard to get through. In the last evening, when Jacoby is attacked, so this is when Jacoby is in the Easter Park, and he's attacked. I mentioned like the guy that attacks him does the same sort of stabbing motion that we see Bob do.
In the train car
premiere of in the train car when Ronette wakes up. When Jacoby is then put in his spell and he's put under hypnosis, he talks about smelling the scorched engine oil.
I smell engine oil at the park.
air is filled with it. All right, we're going back to your room at the hospital now.
Which he smells in the park when he was attacked. He smells it when Leland kills Jacques.
Yep.
Obviously, in the scene, Maddie smells scorched engine oil. We're going to see more scorched engine oil going forward when we start to go into different places.
Yep.
In the last evening, we watch Ben try and sleep with Audrey, which is just a glimpse of an incest storyline that's taking place. Only the master reverse, we see Ben. We don't see the girl. You just reverse that.
Yep.
In May the Giant Be With You, Leland's hair turns white. Bob's hair is white. That seems like an easy one. In May the Giant Be With You, when Ronette wakes, the vision of Bob is him crying, or you can at least see him crying now. That it is the same type of crying that we have here, where he's sort of guilty about what he did. We talked about it too. I think the both of us sort of saw him potentially as crying. In coma, obviously Maddie sees her own blood on the carpet, a premonition of her own murder. We talked about in coma the grandson. If we look at him as a version of Leland, at the time that Bob took over, he holds cream corn. So we'll learn this is important to Bob, something he collects. In The Man Behind the Glass, Leland literally holds up Bob's face to his own. This is the most obvious one. So if you go back to that episode, when he goes into the sheriff's station, he takes the Who's Bob, he puts it up to his face, so it's just Leland's eyes right above Bob's face.
Oh my God,
So
I
it's
didn't even get that. That's great. Okay.
That's the most obvious one. Man Behind the Glass, same episode, Robertson, son of Robert, parent, child. We've got that thing going on. In the same episode, Man Behind the Glass, Philip Gerard reacts to the picture. Now, he had been shown the picture of Bob in the One-Armed Man and had no reaction.
Mm-hmm.
This time he freaks out, and you can look at it like he's freaking out because Leland was just there.
Mm.
And that's when he comes out, he's like, I know you're near, because he was just there showing the picture of Bob and talking about he used to throw matches at me.
Yep.
Okay, in Demons, Mike says he feeds on fears and the pleasures. They are his children. Who does Leland kill? His child.
Mm-hmm.
What have we learned about Laura? She's steeped in fear and pleasure, so that seems like it's a connection. And Mike says that he is the people that have seen his face are the gifted and the damned.
Mm-hmm.
So who has seen him? Sarah, Cooper, Leland, Maddie, and Ronette. Each of these fall into those two. Leland being the damned. In that case, I don't know. Not all clues, but certainly things
connections. For sure.
Connections to the thing.
Yeah.
But for me, when you watch it again, knowing it never felt like, well, that they kind of forced it. It feels natural.
Yeah, it's only in this episode where they so strongly spend the first half, and in the previous episode where they're just like, we're gonna fool you before we give you the real goods. Does it ever feel like more of a trick than anything else? But it still feels earned. It feels like, because you thought the whole way through that it was going to be him. It's just very much like, let's lay it on thick before we decide to take it off.
And Mark, I've heard Mark Frost say, by the time they wrote episode 1, not the pilot, but episode 1, they knew it. So it wasn't like something at the last minute, we have to find a killer, let's just...
It wasn't a lost situation?
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
Exactly.
Good.
All right, so with all that said,
Yes.
back at the Roadhouse, the giant recedes and a great unknown sadness falls on some of the patrons. Despite the condolences of the old waiter, Cooper knows he's made a mistake. God, the sadness in this scene.
First of all, the Cooper, as he's listening to the giant or looking at the giant, he's in this half world. He at one moment like feels his ring finger, which is a great. Just like, so, did he have the ring on? Did he get it back?
No, he would get it back if he had figured it out.
Yeah, okay,
It's still gone.
So there's that. Just the waiter coming over and saying, "I'm so sorry."
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like this moment of like actual lucidness from the waiter, from the earlier scene that we see him in the premiere of the season, where he's just like, he's not there. is great. But in this, it's so painful to be like, oh man, you're in a rough spot, dude.
And that's to all of us, I feel like. That's to everybody involved, that we just went through the worst thing ever.
And I love, like you said, some sadness falls over the patrons. Bobby knowing something's happened. Donna mirroring the premiere or the pilot episode when the girl goes running through the hall, the courtyard of the school and Donna realizes what's happened. It's the same sort of moment. She looks at James. This is a mirror of that same moment. It happened again with Maddie. So just everything's repeating again on a loop. It's so great. Like, and then ending with like the fade of the curtains, calling back, the Black Lodge. I wonder though, how much does Margaret know in all of this? How much does she actually know versus kind of intuit? I know there's no answer to that, but it's just one of those questions. Maybe we'll learn more as we keep watching. And
just to clarify, how much does she know who killed her, or just
no? How much does she see? Like, how much is she just?
What's her world look like through her eyes?
Yeah, exactly. How much is she just a conduit for all of this, and how much can she actually perceive it herself? It's just a question I have, because she is this connection for Cooper to all of this, as much as he is able to see more than she.
I will tell you that she gets tied more to some of the mythology
later on in the
season.
I do recall that there is more to it, but I don't know at this point how much there is. But it's just, and it's a great ending just to end with the curtains like that.
When he says I'm sorry, like it is to us having watched that, but it's also like a way of acknowledging the death of the mystery that was the heartbeat of the show, because it was the thing that you always wanted to know, but once you know it changes. It's gone now.
Be careful what you wish for, sort of things. Like, yes, now the mystery's gone, so you don't have that puzzle to play with anymore. But also, is the answer satisfying? It's good to know, but like, it's also incredibly disturbing.
Yeah, it comes with a cost.
It would have been less disturbing in a way if it was anyone except Leland. So it's like the absolute worst version of what the answer could be. So yeah, you got what you wanted. I'm sorry that you got what you wanted. Yeah.
It is the best version of the worst outcome.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely. No, yeah, I got you.
But the lyrics again, the sun comes up and down each day, and love, don't go away, come back this way, come back and stay forever and ever. Like, just the lyrics are fantastic. I love the way Bobby senses it too. And because only certain people, that we only focus on certain people, other people are just having fun.
Yes.
It's just, Bobby was so tied to Laura. Mm-hmm. This is not Laura dying. This is Maddie, but she look just like,
it's not even just that she looks like her, that they shared feelings, emotions, everything. They have a psychic connection. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you see it in his face and him feeling it. And the way Donna, you pointed out, it's great how it mirrors everything that we saw in the pilot. Yeah. She does it really good. And I love that Cooper is just brought back into that red room just momentarily. Like, he's pulled into this room because he's trying to get back. He's trying to hear what she told him. Mm-hmm. She whispered the killer to him, and he's just trying to get back there. And it's just such a strange ending. And just like the other Lynch episodes, we end on something new, right? It's Cooper between worlds. So we're on that image for the credits.
Yeah.
And this is when I was saying that with the song is still playing, the world spins. Just so good. And it's just like, you don't want this to be, like, you don't want it to be over. And now it's over. And how much of that was Lynch was not happy to reveal it.
Yeah.
But man, if you're going to reveal something, like, this is how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole episode is great. This last third is phenomenal. What a ride to get through all of this. And again, to get what you wanted, but did you really want what you got is right. Pretty rough. It's great.
But anyone else, like, it was always Leland. Like, I can't imagine this. If it was Ben Horn, like, all of a sudden it wouldn't be, anywhere near as powerful or as good. Like, it's just such that's why people talk about the second season. It's like, this early second season is phenomenal.
Yeah. And then
it's just phenomenal. And the next two episodes are still good.
Right.
This is sort of the peak for me, maybe a little bit, but the next ones are really good. Like, the next one we are doing is Drive with the Dead Girl.
Fantastic.
That's coming next. And then the last one we'll do is Arbitrary Law. The next one after that is Arbitrary Law, and then we're taking a break, another week off, and And then we'll be back with the middle section. So that'll be interesting.
The middle section everyone's been waiting for. I hope there's more to do with Nadine in there.
There's stuff to like.
But when you have to transition from this high and then figure out where to go next from that as everything gets wrapped up and resolved, well, we'll just see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we, it's not... Compared to other things, it's still... We'll find stuff to like, and you'll find stuff to like.
Can't wait.
So stick with us. All right. That was fun.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. See ya. Thank you for listening to the Meanwhile podcast with Dan Johnson and Eric Grissom. If you would like to support the Meanwhile podcast, join our Patreon. It's available right now. You can sign up, and for just a few dollars a month, you can keep this show going, and you can get access to some exclusive podcasts and some secret stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. So if you'd like to join, go to ericgrissom.com/meanwhile and look for the Patreon link. If you like our show, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're hearing this now. Meanwhile is produced by Eric Grissom and Where's My Robots? The Meanwhile theme song is written and performed by Paul Finn and Evening Pines. If you want to let us know what you thought of the show, you can reach Dan at danjnj.com, both on the web and on Blue Sky. Eric can be found on Blue Sky at ericgrissom.com, which is also his website. It's also me, right? That's weird. We'll see you again. And in the meantime, be good.
Listen to the sounds.
Meanwhile.
Where's my robots, you know?